We're going to answer one important question. When I bought this YETI Roadie, did YETI bend me over backwards with the $199 retail price? Let's find out. So to start off, I am not an employee of YETI. I don't know anyone that works for YETI. I've never been in contact with anyone that has ever worked at YETI. This isn't an advertisement. It's not an apology letter for their price tags. I just want to know what I can do as far as researching to find out how much margin are they making off of this 22 quart, $200 cooler. I haven't once, without a doubt, ever questioned my purchase. I don't even care to defend the YETI price tag. And there's numerous reviews out there that show that the performance and durability of these coolers is undeniable.
In fact, I want to say at the 72-hour mark, this guy still had about 10% ice left. And even at 82 hours, the water inside was super chilled. It was like 37 degrees.
The question I want to answer is YETI charging a reasonable price based on their margin and operating costs? So let's get one thing out of the way, and that's YETI does, again, without a doubt, need to make money to dump back into their advertising efforts. So they need to constantly remind people that their products are associated with the gritty and rugged outdoorsman. That this cooler, which is the first ever to be certified as bear resistant, is an essential asset to living that outdoor life. Chris Jansen's country hit Buy Me a Boat helped propel YETI into the zeitgeist with the line, "You can buy me a YETI 110 ice down with some silver bullets." Personally, I'll take Budweiser over the silver, but that's besides the point. Probably even unbeknownst to you as the consumer, it's working. Companies in general spend a ton of money working on their brand association and keeping up their image. Not to get too sidetracked from the analysis at hand, but in an episode of The World According to Jeff Goldblum went to an Adidas R&D facility to check out the new potential prototypes. They hooked him up to a machine that was able to gauge his emotional reaction to their products. Why?
Every athlete wants to be better, but not many want to change. And many times the obstacle to change isn't that they doubt the performance of the shoe, it just doesn't look good and feel good.
Now back to the cooler. I admittedly felt that when I went to Dick's Sporting Goods to purchase this cooler. You pick it up, you hold it, and it's without a doubt premium, it's heavy, it's well made. I've seen friends and family with the cooler and was finally excited to add one to my collection. To, no longer repeatedly purchase cheaper coolers time and time again, which I'm sure I've spent well over $200 over the years. The cheaper coolers just tend to get beat to death and eventually hit the graveyard. Especially if you're using it for fishing, for camping, time and time again, things just break, they crack, and they just don't last. So let's finally take a look at the touted cooler technology of the YETI cooler. The body of the cooler is comprised of a seamless rotomolded shell that is pressure injected with commercial grade polyurethane foam to create 2 inches of insulation around the entirety of the cooler, including the lid. The lid is tough enough to hold your body weight and contains a high quality freezer grade gasket to seal the lid. Premium, premium, premium. There's a popular What's Inside episode. They take a saw to the YETI cooler and are unimpressed with their findings.
I'm not overly impressed with the difference between the $400 versus the $50.
I think perhaps this was just an unfair visual representation to the value and performance of their products. I'm no expert in this realm of cooler technology, but I do know, based on my background studying biochemistry and engineering, not all materials are created equal. It's not easy to judge the quality of the materials visually. Again, I'm trying not to be a YETI apologist. This whole analysis is just trying to be objective in the review of the YETI cooler price, and specifically the YETI Roadie. So back to the cooler. YETI likes to point out their never fail hinge system and their patented T-Rex lid latches. Alright, so now that we're familiar with the product, let's revisit that $200 price tag. So I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out the best, again, objective way to determine the cost to manufacture a product like this with just about no luck. The goal, again, is to find objective evidence for my calculation. And the only thing that I could find was the reference documents in their investor relations material. YETI went public in 2018, which requires them to disclose certain information to the market. This includes their net sales, operating costs, and the most important of all, their gross margin. Now, the problem is that the gross margin that's being reported is the overall gross margin. And over the last 12 months, all right, so I have to interject at this point because I noticed that during the editing process, I miscalculated the gross margin for YETI over the last 12 months. I had accidentally taken the cost of goods sold divided by net sales, and I came up with the wrong number. And I guess it was just because I was looking through different earnings reports and the categories aren't always aligned up. But besides the point, inexcusable miscalculation for exactly what I'm trying to do. So if I take the actual gross profit divided by the net sales, I get a 52% margin, which is very healthy. And then another thing I didn't have in the video before that a friend of mine actually thought would be a good idea was a comparison to what other cooler brands are doing as far as their margin. Very difficult to find, but coolers are categorized in the outdoor equipment market, and some of that information is available. In the overall market in 2015, the average margin that was charged was 38%. It's such a broad spectrum of different things that can fall in the outdoor equipment market, but the 52% compared to 38%, YETI's doing very well. However, as you'll see later on in the video of what their actual net income is, you can understand why they have to charge what they do. Okay, back to the video. YETI reported an increase in their SG&A expenses over the last 12 months, which included specifically an increase in marketing expenses. Looking at their latest report, their net income only came down to 5.5% of their sales, meaning of the roughly $200 I contributed to YETI from purchasing the cooler, only $11 translated to actual net income for YETI. So I get really curious about things, and I think this one actually got away from me because I did spend a lot of time reading through their 10K to figure out if I could find any objective evidence to see exactly how much it cost them to make this cooler and then how much they're profiting off the cooler. And again, it's surprisingly not that much, and I'm happy with it. Again, I'm not a YETI apologist for their prices. All I wanted to do was look at the cooler that I use quite a bit, and again, I'm happy with it. So, hope this helped. Would appreciate a subscribe at the bottom, and again, please, any comments if there's other stuff that you'd want to see that I could check into. I'm definitely going to do a review on this beautiful boat board that I have back here and I absolutely love. Not necessarily something like this. It is a premium priced board, but again, it's very well built. So again, please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the alert button, and comment below. Later.